and welcome back to our SIGNL4 onboarding series. Previously, we've set up our accounts and invited our users and are receiving our alerts. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the ability to use time-based profiles to ensure we're getting the right alerts at the right times so we don't get needless alerts at night waking up our technicians in the middle of the night without cause. So we can see here that I have loaded up my SIGNL4 web portal and my SIGNL4 mobile app. So inside the web portal, if I click on my teams, and then inside the teams, choose the signaling option, we'll notice down here at the bottom that we have something called overrides. And if I go ahead and click on the plus sign here, this will allow me to create a profile, and we're going to go ahead and name this profile Evening and Weekends, saying we want to be alerted over the evenings and weekends on just certain things. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and turn off the 24/7. And this allows me to actually create a schedule for these shifts. So since I am doing evening to weekends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then change this one here to Tuesday at 9 a.m. So what this is going to do is from Monday at 6 till Tuesday at 9 a.m., we are going to use this profile for our alerts. So what we want to do here is we actually want to add the rest of the weekend as well. So once I select the first date and times, if I click on the plus sign, it'll keep these date and times and move them forward throughout the week. So we got Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday, Thursday to Friday, and then we have Friday to Saturday. But we want to change this one to go from Friday to Monday to cover the entire weekend in one swoop, as those are all off work hours. So the next thing I want to do is we actually want to suppress signals so that we don't get alerted on needless items. But we don't want to suppress everything because there are important alerts that we may still need to receive, such as computer being down. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and check the only for these categories as well. And now I'm going to add the categories that I do not want to be alerted on throughout the evenings and weekends. So now I'm going to go ahead and choose all of my categories with the exception of the emergency category. Because these other items we don't want to be alerted on during the weekend. We only want to be alerted if it's an emergency. So I'm going to leave that category out, but select all of the others. And what this means is we're going to suppress the signal for all of these categories for these times here. Which means on our nights and weekends, anything that comes into default or IT or any of these other categories will not alert us, but anything that comes into the emergency category will alert us. And once that's set, I'm going to go ahead and save that. So now what we have is you have your default alerts, which means during the weekdays from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're going to be alerted on everything because we don't have a profile for that. However, on our evenings and weekends, we now have a profile saying we only want to be alerted on emergency alerts. And let's go ahead and see this in action. However, in order for us to see this in action, I actually have to edit my profile a little bit so that we can actually see these alerts getting blocked as they come in. So I'm going to change this from Tuesday at 9 a.m. to Tuesday at noon, just for the purpose of this video, since we are on a Tuesday and it's just a little bit before noon here. So now that we've created our profile and it is active to stop alerts from certain categories during certain times, I'm going to go ahead and send in two alerts. First, an emergency alert, which should show up on the system as a new alert, and then a second alert that goes into another category, and this one should be suppressed. And we'll see that in action right here. So we'll see here that we already got a new alert, and if I go ahead and scroll down and click on our incoming alerts, we'll see that we have a new alert, and we can tell by the icon here that it was inside of the emergency category. And inside of the web portal, if I go down here to my integrations and events, we'll see here that we actually got two events. The first one here came in. It goes to the emergency category with all of the information in it. And then the second one comes in. It does not go to the emergency. It actually goes to the IT category. And we can see that this one was suppressed, and it's because of our time-based profile. This will ensure that we actually receive the important alerts overnight, but we're not waking our users up for somebody locking themselves out of Outlook or something inconsequential that they don't need to be woken up in the middle of the night for, but they do still get alerted on things that are important enough that they do need to be woken up for, such as a server going down or something along those lines. Okay, so now that we've set up our first one, we're actually going to go ahead and set up a second one here, and we're going to go ahead and add a new override. And we're going to go ahead and call this one daytime, because we're going to set this up to work during the day shifts while we're actually active in the office. And we're going to turn off 24/7 again, and this time we're going to leave it as Monday 9 to 6, because we set up our end time to be 6, and then go add Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And what we want to do is we want to, again, only do it for certain categories, but this time we're actually going to choose the emergency category. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make it so our emergency category alerts us differently than every other category. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and override our alert and response settings. So for the emergency category, these are emergency alerts. So we don't want to wait for an escalation to occur. We want to actually change this down to, let's say, 15 minutes. In addition to that, we also want to override the escalation settings and say when this time is breached, instead of escalating to a manager, we want to escalate to our IT ops team to get more eyes on the problem as quickly as possible. And then outside of that, we also want to go ahead and override our notification patterns. And what we want to do here is we want to make it so we're using this set notification pattern to alert our users as quickly as possible. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and turn on email, but we're going to leave email and push as instant, and we're going to make SMS 1 minute and voice calls 2 minutes, ensuring that you receive a lot of alerts very quickly so that we can see these emergency issues and get on them right away. Next up, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and save this. And once that's back, I'm going to save it. So now we have everything set to our correct time, meaning on our emergency alerts, we are going to use these patterns instead of our already set pattern for anything in the emergency category during the work day. So as we can see here, my current notification pattern is set for an instant push, a text message after 3 minutes, an email after 1, and a phone call after 5. But this overriding pattern is actually going to override that, and we're going to use this pattern here, which we can see. Okay, so we're going to send in another 2 alerts here, and here goes my first one, and here goes my second one, just so we can see the notification differences in the 2. So back here on there goes my first alert, SQL is down, and there goes my second one. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at these inside of the web portal here, and what this will allow us to see is it'll see how we were alerted as we were alerted. So I'm going to expand out the first one, and we'll see right here that it was a push notification was already delivered with the others being delayed. And if I go to my one that went into my emergency category, we'll see here that my push and email were both already sent with the phone call and the text message being delayed using the override pattern depending on the category chosen inside of my override. And this is how we can use the SIGNL4 overrides to ensure that your users are getting the right alerts at the right times and are not getting unnecessary alerts in the middle of the night if they're not needed. Thank you and have a nice day. Goodbye.